Justin here with the Frog Brothers podcast, coming at you with some more upgrades on the Spengler Neutrona wand. So, to crack this bad boy open, there's 4 slots on the bottom here you're going to need to drill out based on some other videos I've seen, so you can kind of tell here that's where the screws are heading. I'm assuming that's what's here as well. Another screw cap, a screw cap, a screw cap, because as you can see the plastic seams there, this whole thing comes apart. So a few parts I do plan on putting on pretty quick. Is going to be a authentic Clippard valve. This is the Clippard 701, so that should be pretty awesome. And then I also have a actual push button here that's going to go on the end. So the current one on here is just molded on, so that's not screen accurate. So in addition to that, I probably will do the barrel twist modification. And in addition, I'm going to do painting the whole thing, so I'll be kind of masking off some of the included labeling, and it'll go from there. So anyway, I'm going to do a quick video here of me drilling into the gun box so we can take it apart, take a look at it. So bear with me here and I will tell you what size drill bit we're using. It looks like it's going to be 1/4 inch drill bit here. Looks like that should be about accurate. So when you're doing something like this, you want to take it easy and slow. You don't want to strip out the screws beneath it. I'm going to put this in a lower torque mode and go slow with it, right? There's no reason to be in a rush with something like this. Why risk damaging an item you're going to try to upgrade when you're in a hurry or you're not paying attention? So we will get in here, get on this first front corner. You can see most of that's going to kind of drill right out, almost through to the screw. But again, slow and steady wins the race on something like this. You don't want to risk damaging it, so go back down in there. And that comes through pretty easily. There's a little screw cap in there. Now I do believe these pop out all the way. I've seen some other videos on there, so kind of see that drilled out right there. And then it goes to a smaller diameter, which is fine. We'll drill all these out. Alright, so I'm back with another update here. So I did drill all these out. So you got to be very careful with those. So if you can see in there with the lighting, you drill out the plastic part that's kind of covering that to fill the screw holes. Then you go down to a certain length, and then here on the back side you see that for the V-hook, you know, those are the screws and how they're attached in there. So pretty solid build quality there. I mean, it's plastic, so like in the rail you can see that that's hollowed out. So if you're going to make like this your primary wand on like a full-scale build pack, you might just consider upgrading that to aluminum. I don't think a resin cast is going to do much good over this. This is pretty solid. Looks good, functions well. But the next piece here, so as you can see, we've got this opened, and those screw heads on here, you can tell that those are very fragile, so you would not want to drill all the way through those. So I drilled down through till I broke through, felt it break, and then I was actually able to clean some of the junk out using the awl here, which is handy to have. If you don't have one, I'd recommend one. Great thing to have in your toolbox. So we'll crack open the case here and keep on going in. So there are 4 additional screws in here. So there is, looks like there's a 1 in here, 1 in here, 1 in here, 1 in here, and then there's also one on the back. But we'll take these first 4 out and see how it all goes. So that's pretty much the same style screw that the other ones were, so they're pretty small, so you just want to be careful. You want to make sure you're using the right screwdriver tip on there. Make sure that that's compatible. If you use too large of a Phillips head, you could damage that. Obviously with something like this, taking care to make sure it's right the first time, it's going to go a long way for you. What's really cool about this is even on this plastic part, they were very meticulous in creating that sense of rust bubbles and the paint bubbling up just from wear and tear and moisture or slime or whatever you want, imagination wants to pretend like it was getting through on there. So if you got a different screw that's the same style, but that's a longer thread, so you just want to notate where that's going through. If you're not familiar with taking things apart, one thing I usually do is I'll draw out a sheet of paper and draw a basic diagram and label them and number each hole, kind of figure out what's what. So this whole panel slides off, which is interesting here. So now if you wanted to take this piece off, you could. There's my other screws. So, and this one's still sat in the spot, so make sure you don't lose anything if it doesn't come out easily. I've got these 4 sorted from my other 4. And so now as you look inside of here, you can kind of see what's going on. So with the wand spring there. So just since we've already got it cracked, we'll show you what it looks like here with the spring mechanism. So that just gives you slack. So if you're going to do the barrel modification, there's a screw here you're going to take out, this screw you'll take out, and then there's a couple of modifications inside that. So I will document that. Then it looks like that's all screwed in there now. As far as taking the original clipboard off, you're going to take that off here, and that's got a special screw head, so I'm going to go snag one of those, just show you what that looks like. Now I'm not going to replace it yet because I am going to do a significant amount of painting to the body here. So I'm going to take some of this apart, take some things out that I'm going to do, and then I'm going to paint before I put it all back together. Alright, so for the included clipboard valve that's on there, this is going to take a hex head, and the one I found that is a match is 3/32. So make sure you have the right equipment if you're going to plan on reusing these screws. Now from what I understand, what I've heard before, there are some washers on the back side of this, but I'll worry about getting those retrieved once I get deeper inside this. Feel free to make all the Michael Scott jokes you can handle. Now when I first started seeing the review videos of this was one of my biggest gripes about this, which for the price point and the average onlooker, it's not that big of a deal. But having used real clipboard valves before on my full-size Anovos pack build, this is definitely something I thought was pretty important to upgrade for me. So just heard that come loose. Just heard the other one come loose. So now those are pretty thin. Don't know how well those are going to match up to a real clipboard valve. So I'll show you just a quick display here, right? So the base of the clipboard's pretty close to being accurate size. Obviously there's no labeling on there. Got a real aluminum tip, and it's just screwed into the bottom of the plastic here. So not terrible. If I were to reuse this, I could see reusing this like on a Spirit Pack sized wand, because it actually looks pretty close to scale for that. So you'll see the huge difference there. But that's kind of where we're at with this right now. Alright, so we're back again. And on this next update, I started taking the some of the wand apart here. I pulled out all the plugs on the front, down through here. But this plastic cap here is glued on. I could have got the heat gun out to mess with it, but I was able to crack this open enough to make sure I'm not going to damage my button here. So what I'm going to do is drill a hole for this on the top to go and sit down in there. and then I will drill through the bottom as well next to that point and connect it in there. So it should be a pretty smooth process, so let's give it a crack. Nice and smooth. I do see that I've got a clean pocket all the way through to the bottom, which is exactly what I need. So mostly what I need to do is thread this out. So the hole in the bottom is going to need to be a little bit bigger. Since I actually have no intention of doing any real functions with this, you could clip these off. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet. But first off, what I'm going to do is get the next drill bit size up larger, and that's a 5/16. And actually, I'm going to do the 5/16 there, go small and steady, and then I will figure out where to go from there. But the other trick is, I really don't want to damage this, so what I'm going to do is drill through the side, through the bottom pocket. Alright, so that seems to be pretty smooth through there. Obviously you're going to have a little bit of debris in the wand. Get as much of that out of there as you can. You don't really want that just sitting up in there. So see that that'll work for the top threads, but I do need to open the bottom hole a little bit larger. Now you got to be careful when you're doing this, so I would recommend drilling that top off, because if you're not careful, you're going to get through that screw hole, which is just going to add durability in the long run with the process here. So now this is a 5/16. This should do it. If not, I'm just going to get my file out and I'll file it down the rest of the way just to make it fit. I want it to be snug and I want it to fit in there nicely. And if I do need to take it out, that would be nice, because I'm going to be able to paint and such. So pro trick on that is to go backwards with your drill if it's hanging up, because you could probably tell that it was starting to push the wand apart. And that should be good for now. Again, I'm going to use this and get some of that debris out of the hole. So ultimately, that's going to be able to drop through. So we're getting close. So I'm going to grab the file and work on that for a minute. I have dry fit the clippered valve. So with the clippered valve, I drilled out the hole here very slowly, because there is a circuit board right behind there, so you have to go slow. I would size up to the correct drill bit size you need. And then I also drilled a secondary hole for the notch on the clippered valve. Now my holes are slightly off from there. I wasn't dead center. I should have measured. Oh well. More than likely I will not be reusing these screws that they included. I will probably end up using some real hex head bolts like they use on the equipment in the movie, like you'll see on a lot of the parts. So that's what I wind up putting on there. So, and then obviously I got this fitted on so that you can see that that clicks. This does have a little twist to it. Haven't done much else with that just yet. Now I did take out all these holes as well, like I showed you earlier, and then here's this. So I will take this button off when I go ahead and paint, which I will be probably masking and prepping to paint here pretty soon. Probably do that next before I put everything back together on there. So the nice thing about these is those are the same size hex head screws, that were the other ones, so that's a 30 seconds. A couple other important pieces of information. So when I drilled through the top here to get that authentic button on there, wind up using a 5/16 on the top and a 3/8 on the bottom. So when I go to refill all these holes, what I'm going to use is moldable cosplay foam. That way, in case I ever need to get to them again, I can pull them out without any drilling. I can just stick something in there and pop that foam out real quick, and that way it really won't get stuck in the threads of the screws either. So that'll be a real easy way to fill these and then kind of do some paint matching and stuff. So anyway, but that's what I've got for right now, so I just want to let you know.